Serial killers have a profound impact on society, often through their shocking and violent acts. Interestingly, while serving their sentences, some of these individuals discover hidden artistic abilities, leading to further debate and discussion. This exploration delves into the lives of infamous serial killers, highlighting not only their heinous crimes, but also the creative works they produced during their time in prison, showcasing talents as artists, writers, and even voice actors. Charles Manson, infamous cult leader. Charles Manson, along with his group of devoted followers, was linked to a series of brutal murders, most notably the tragic killing of actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant and suffered 16 stab wounds. Though Manson did not directly take any lives, he was tried alongside the alleged murderers as he orchestrated the horrific acts. Ultimately, he and his followers were found guilty of 9 murders, but authorities believed the true count was higher. Manson and his cult claimed to have taken the lives of 35 individuals, supposedly burying them in the desert. During his time in prison, Manson discovered a passion for painting, which attracted a dedicated following. His artwork gained renewed attention following the release of Quentin Tarantino's film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Manson's connection to the art world continued even after his death. His remains were cremated, and some of his ashes were incorporated into artwork by artist Ryan Almighty. A striking piece featuring Manson's face, with his ashes used for the eyes, can be seen at Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. The Night Stalker. Starting in June 1984, Richard Ramirez embarked on a 14-month spree of breaking into homes, committing acts of rape, torture, and murder across the Los Angeles area. He was apprehended in August 1985 and subsequently put on trial. By September 1989, he was convicted on multiple charges, including 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary. Ramirez spent 24 years on death row before succumbing to complications from B-cell lymphoma. During his incarceration, he developed an interest in art, garnering a significant fan base that sent him thousands of letters. In his responses, he often included his own drawings. These artworks were predominantly eerie, showcasing demonic figures and menacing dinosaurs, though one piece humorously depicted SpongeBob SquarePants. His creations are available for purchase online. David Berkowitz's journey began with arson before he escalated to becoming a notorious serial killer, unleashing terror in New York during the mid-1970s. Over this chilling period, he claimed the lives of 6 individuals and injured 7 more, ultimately receiving 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life. During his incarceration, Berkowitz experienced a profound transformation. He embraced Christianity, dedicating himself to reading the Bible and becoming a born-again believer. His reflections on his life, prison experience, and newfound faith are captured in his book, Son of Hope, The Prison Journals of David Berkowitz. Acknowledging the likelihood of spending the rest of his life behind bars, Berkowitz has come to terms with his situation. He now focuses on helping others and aspires to share the message of God and Jesus with those around him. The Co-ed Killer. Edmund Kemper's journey into infamy began at the tender age of 15 when he took the lives of his grandparents. This tragic start paved the way for a series of heinous acts, including the murders of 6 female college students in Santa Cruz, California, followed by the brutal killing of his mother and her friend. Kemper was ultimately sentenced to 8 consecutive life terms and is currently incarcerated at the California Medical Facility State Prison in Vacaville, located about an hour northeast of San Francisco. During his time in prison, he became involved in the Blind Project, where he lent his voice to hundreds of audiobooks, including titles like Flowers in the Attic, Merlin's Mirror, and Star Wars. His contributions were met with gratitude, earning him 2 trophies from supporters, and he expresses a sense of pride in his work. Despite his efforts, he remains behind bars, having been denied parole multiple times. Dorothea Puente operated a boarding house that catered mainly to the elderly and disabled. However, a troubling pattern emerged as several of her residents began to vanish without a trace. A worried social worker, linked to one of the missing individuals, prompted an investigation by the police, who ultimately uncovered 9 bodies buried in the backyard. Dorothea Puente faced charges for the murders of 9 individuals, ultimately being convicted for 3 of those deaths. She received a life sentence and was transferred to the Central California Women's Facility located in Chowchilla, California. In addition to her notoriety as a serial killer, Puente was celebrated for her culinary skills, delighting her boarders with lavish meals. Recognizing her remarkable talent in the kitchen, author Shane Bugbee reached out to her and, over time, gathered a collection of her recipes, leading to the creation of the cookbook, Cooking with a Serial Killer: Recipes from Dorothea Puente. Some of the recipes featured in the book are potato stuffing with kielbasa and mushrooms, chipotle ketchup, tamales, prison style, Unterweger, Austrian serial killer. In 1974, Jack Unterweger carried out his first murder, leading to a life sentence behind bars. During his incarceration, he discovered a passion for writing, producing a variety of works, including short stories, poems, and plays. His most notable achievement was a best-selling autobiography titled Fegefeuer oder die Reise ins Zuchthaus, Purgatory or the Journey to Prison, Confessions of a Guilty Man. His writing achieved remarkable success, leading to his book being included in school curricula and his children's stories being broadcast on the radio. He gained significant fame, and the public's belief in his transformation prompted a movement for his early release. Their efforts paid off, and after serving 15 years of a life sentence, Unterweger was set free. Shortly thereafter, a disturbing wave of murders targeting prostitutes began, first in Austria, then spreading across Central Europe, and eventually reaching the United States. Utilizing his journalistic expertise, Unterweger took on the role of lead journalist covering these murders. He resided at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, California, during this time. As time passed, law enforcement grew wary of Unterweger, noting his frequent presence at crime scenes, sometimes even before the crimes occurred. Eventually, the police gathered sufficient evidence to arrest him, and Unterweger was convicted of 9 murders. He was sentenced to life in prison, but tragically took his own life before he could be incarcerated. See, the Killer Clown. John Wayne Gacy, a popular building contractor who entertained children as Pogo the Clown on weekends, committed his first murder in 1972. This marked the beginning of a horrific spree in which he tortured and killed a total of 33 young men. Authorities discovered bodies in the crawl space of his home in Norwood Park, Illinois, leading to the dismantling of the house in search of further evidence. Ultimately, 27 bodies were unearthed. While awaiting execution in prison, Gacy turned to painting, often depicting clowns among other subjects like birds and the 7 dwarfs. His artwork has been showcased multiple times, and today, you can view some of his pieces at the Museum of Death in New Orleans and Los Angeles, the Grave Face Museum in Savannah, Georgia, and Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Bars. Although they will forever be remembered for being serial killers, some of these killers have also left a mark on society for their hidden talents. If you have an interest on acquiring anything you've just read about, many can be found online either for sale or up for auction.